Hey everybody, Bobby here from the GM table, and today we're doing something a little different. If you haven't noticed, things are moved around. I'm in the process of moving my desk and my entire stream setup, and because of that, my entire virtual tabletop setup, because of the kid coming and all that. But I'm using this as an opportunity to show you how I set up for online gaming, given everything going on. And while we do all that, we're also going to talk about the programs I use and the different programs. We're not going into the best program, just different, and some alternatives you can use as well. But here we go. Okay, so first thing you might notice is I got a camera over there. Hi. See, camera back there. That way you can see my screens, because I could set up screen sharing and all of that. But again, like I said, I got a kid coming and I can only do so much editing right now. But with that, you guys will be able to see my screens and everything. Now, this is OBS. This is because I record and I do streams. But going on behind that, for the sake of ease, I have Zoom. Normally this has multiple people up. This is what I use for calling everybody. This is because I really, really care about having a stable, high quality connection. The thing about that is Zoom is free, but not really free. It is by far the best video conferencing service you can have right now. Yes, it kicks Skype's butt. Okay, there's a couple features in Skype I like that I wish Zoom had, but as far as stability and ease of use and how much it chews up my computer, Zoom wins. Now, Zoom is technically free. You can use it for free, but your call limit is to 45 minutes if you're free. That doesn't work for tabletop RPGs. Now, you could do that, and at 45 minutes, boom, forced bio break if you have an alternate way where you're doing chat, like Discord, which we're going to get into, and do that and then come back for another 45 minutes, and it forces that stuff. But out of nowhere, your call can just end. I don't like that, especially since, again, we're doing streaming, and I can't have that happen. The paid version of Zoom, that is about $16 a month. It is not cheap for what it is, but it's really, really good, and that's why I use it. Alternatively, if you don't care about as good of audio as possible or as good of video as possible, because the video has gotten better, honestly, just use Discord. Discord's free. You can set it up. You can do personal calls. You can do chat rooms. All of that stuff can be done with audio and video. And yes, I think video is very, very important. As a GM, I want to be able to see my players' reactions. I want to be able to read the table. And even through video, it's not as easy as in person. But just audio, so much harder. Being able to see facial expressions is a huge deal. Plus, they can see my facial expressions. I can gesture. If you haven't noticed, I do that a lot anyways. I can show things on camera if I really don't want to go through the process of doing screen sharing and worrying about revealing too much. Or maybe I have a physical item, like I'm just going to use this beer bottle because we streamed last night and I haven't cleaned as much as I should. I can just show it. If I have a good quality one and my lighting's better, then boom, you can just do that. Now, if you notice, as I lean forward, my lighting is considerably better. That's where my lighting's set up for, but I'm back. So again, hi, that camera can see screens, because over here, I have Fantasy Grounds. A lot of my stream games, I do Fantasy Grounds. I'm not getting into which is better, Fantasy Grounds or Roll20. They both have their merits. I've been on podcasts about it. I've written articles about it. I've done all kinds of stuff about why both are good and both have their uses. If you're doing something like D&D, which some of my streams are, and there's a lot of timers for spells and countdowns and effects that might be going off and everything, I really like doing Fantasy Grounds. Plus, it lets me use some of the rules that are optional that I wouldn't normally do at the table, like rolling initiative every round. It can automate, so I can do it. I can have the massive damage rules because it'll auto know when it happens, roll it automatically, check the table automatically, and just tell me the result immediately. No looking up stuff. It's an optional rule. If I were at the table, I just wouldn't use it. So I do that. Roll20 works just as well for different things. Honestly, go look at that. I did a spot on Savage Interludes where we spent basically an hour talking about both and why I like one for some things and one for other things. Check out that podcast from our friend Ron and do all of that. because that's not the whole point of this video. But I am going to let you in on a few other tips. Again, video matters. Now, I used to have a much lower quality webcam, and that was a C920. They're about 20 to 30 bucks if you can find them. And if you're okay with 720p video, they're great. In fact, I was fine with it, but my kid needed a webcam for school, and I gave her mine, and I needed one because I was going to upgrade anyways. But finding webcams is really, really hard. Do not spend more than 20 to 30 bucks on the C920. It's not worth it. I'm going to have a picture of it so you know which one I'm talking about. There is also, I can't remember the name of it, so I'm just going to throw it up right there. This is about it's been a long day. It's about, I want to say about an $80 camera, but we're going to throw the price up here. Don't overpay for that. And then there's the Logitech Brio, which is a 4K camera, and that's usually about $200. Don't overpay for these because they're being gouged. Now, if you're already looking to spend hundreds of dollars on a camera, okay, which most of us aren't, but webcams are running for those prices anyways. What is my upgrade right now, is a GoPro, because no one's buying action cams. If you buy a GoPro 7 or lower, they have an HDMI out through micro HDMI. Look, I know some tech, I don't know all the tech, but I believe it's micro HDMI. So you get that, you set it up to a capture card or any kind of capture thing like that, and boom, you're good there. Now, granted, capture cards are kind of hard to find too, but maybe you have one. Maybe you can find one easier. This camera ran me about 400 bucks. Thing is if you go that route, don't go for the newest GoPro Hero 8. The Hero 8 no longer does HDMI out. They want you to buy a new accessory that's specifically for like vlogging and stuff that gives you the HDMI out. And that's going to be another 80 bucks on top of that camera being 100 bucks more than the 7. And you can get the even older ones for even cheaper. So go that route. There are also apps now to use your phone. Hi, you can set your phone up to be a wireless webcam through your Wi-Fi. You have a phone, you have a camera, you can do it that way. Like I said, I'm also going to talk about why I do theater of mind. If you notice, I have 2 monitors. This is also a bigger setup than a lot of people. Heck, this is a bigger setup than me just a couple months ago. I was constantly toggling, where if I'm using Fantasy Grounds and I got to set something up, I do it, but I try to keep the cams up as much as possible because seeing my players matters more to me than seeing the map. That's what matters to them. But if you're doing theater of the mind, having only one monitor, so much easier. We can just forget this. Boom. All of a sudden, Fantasy Grounds doesn't exist, and we're just going to be over here and just do it right there. If you trust your players, do physical dice. I got a Perry the Platypus full of dice right here, ready to go. I still, as GM, enjoy rolling my dice directly on the table for table rolls. Or look, sometimes I just in my head go, all right, there's a 1 in 6 chance of this happening. Pick up a D6, roll it. If it's a 6, then it happened. I'll wing it. When I wing it, I like to have physical dice, unless I'm doing like automated stuff, at which point you need the digital dice. But that's really it. It's really, really simple. I also have a much nicer mic than most people probably will. This is a Blue Yeti X, which has all kinds of stuff. Again, I care about really, really good audio. But a basic Blue Yeti, for the longest time, I used a Snowball, which is in the other room. It's also by Blue. And it's just this little round ball. It reminds me of the balls the Ood would carry around in Doctor Who. I didn't plan that, but hey, I'm wearing the Doctor Who shirt. And heck, I even took that to ChupacabraCon last year and did all my interviews with it. And it's great. It's like 50 bucks. And you can still find them because people aren't worrying too much about that. But depending on the camera you have, a lot of cameras have built-in mics. If you're not recording this or streaming this or doing any kind of production, your audio quality matters to the point that everyone else at the table can understand what you're saying, okay? It doesn't need to sound like you're on the radio or on a podcast if it's just a personal game. Video quality doesn't have to be the best. High-def video doesn't really matter. You're getting squished down on the same screen as everybody else. Don't worry about all of that stuff. This is just the setup I have, but my layout is very important. I tend to have OneNote right here, over shoulder camera, right here on my iPad. Now, my iPad used to be over here, but I had to move the mic. Anyways, right here, so I can pick it up and I can check notes. I love OneNote because I can do it on my computer. I can bring it over here, stuff like that. I have my map up on one screen. I have my players on another, so I can just boop, boop, boop. Keeps it really simple, just like looking at the table versus looking at my players. I don't tend to have too many other books. If I know I'm running a game where I'm going to need books, I put them in a shelf under my desk. When we're doing virtual games, real estate on top, as clean as possible when you can, because you're going to have more than enough. You're going to be juggling by doing something like Fantasy Grounds or anything like that. If you're doing a VTT, keep things as clean as possible down at the bottom. All right. It's amazing. Now, perks of doing virtual games is stuff like I use a program called VoiceMod. And normally I have it set up here on my Stream Deck and everything. But again, that's because I stream and I need to do camera changes and stuff like that. And you shouldn't really need to worry about that. VoiceMod's really fun because I can be in a cave and now I'm good. And then I just turn it off and boom, I'm back. And by doing it that way, I can add atmosphere and ambiance that is different than being at the table. I'm not going to say it's better because there's things at the table you can't replicate. But having those little tricks lets you add different experiences. I'm looking into Serenescapes because they have a newer program where I can do it on my computer and they can hear through my mic, so I don't have to have extra stuff for them to listen to it since they're not at the table, to add background music and some other sound effects and all of that, so that we can add even more atmosphere, because adding atmosphere is a lot harder through digital, but it matters even more because your players are potentially distracted. You can't do no devices in a digital game because your game is on a device. And that is where the biggest problem comes. So do what you can, do what feels comfortable. I hope showing you my setup helps some of you who are still adjusting to digital tabletop games and shifting to doing games this way has helped you figure out some layouts you might want to use and steal. But I'll catch you guys next time. That's it for this week's episode. But if you want to catch even more, we have live episodes every Tuesday with Tales from the Frontier and every Saturday with Savage Star Wars over on our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/GMTable. Also, as always, you can catch episodes a week or even more early over on our Patreon, patreon.com/GMTable. If that doesn't suit you and you still want to help support the channel, we have a brand new merch store in the link down below with all kinds of mugs, t-shirts, mouse pads, all that cool stuff with Wild the Wild Die, table flip shirts, all of that. Check it out below. Anyways, we'll catch you guys next time. Bye.